Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Barcia if you're new here, and if you're not, welcome back. So today's video will be a recap of my first semester of nursing school, and it'll also be tips for pre-nursing students. If you're interested in that, please stay tuned. So first, I want to apologize for my absence for not posting a video in months. I initially wanted to make my second video a pre-nursing students advice, and then my third video a recap of my first month of nursing school, but I just decided that it'll be more informational if I just combine the two and then wait until the semester was over so that I'll have way more knowledge on things. So I have my iPad so I can make sure I cover all of the points that I want to hit. And so the first thing that I learned or experienced for my first semester was that it's very, very, very important to study each day for each class. The exams come up really quickly. The content is very rich. It's a lot of things that you have to learn. For instance, my first exam for pharmacology was 10 chapters, and that class met once a week. We met on Monday, so that was 5 chapters we were reviewing, and then we meet again next Monday, another 5 chapters, and then the next class session was the exam. So it's really important to study each day for each class. That way you won't be focusing too much of your attention and time on one class more than the other when you have exams weekly for your classes. Nursing is very glamorized on social media. So I feel like social media portrays nursing as this career that's so cute, and the nurses are just in their scrubs with their cute little pouches and the rhinestone stethoscopes. I want to cover finding friends and study groups in nursing school. So my experience as far as study groups, I did meet with a study group one time during the semester, and I realized that it's not for me. I feel like when I'm learning content, it's easier for me to study and learn it on my own than if I'm with a group of people, because if I'm with a group of people, I'm just focused on what's going on around me and I can't solely focus on the material that I'm learning. So yeah, I did not study with a group of people. I just studied by myself, but I did wish that I had a solid group of people to go over the content of the exam, maybe a few days before the exam, just to test each other. But that is not something that I found. I feel like a lot of the times most nursing school videos on YouTube makes it seem like it's going to be really easy for you to find a study group or a group of friends, but I didn't experience that. So, and that isn't something that I wanted to rush or force either, as far as finding friends in nursing school, because I wanted it to come naturally. So yeah, I still don't have friends in nursing school, but it's not an issue or anything like that, because I'm sure that it'll happen naturally for me. The work is not impossible, but it is very difficult, and you are learning content at a fast pace. 10 to 12 chapters for each exam, depending on how much material is in each chapter. It's really fast paced. It is. You will have an exam this week, and then next week it's like boom, an exam for another class. So you have to really stay on top of it, and that is something that I learned really quickly, that I have to study every single day for each of my class. And I didn't really start studying for each class every day until the end of the semester, because that's something I had to get used to. But you have to study every single day in nursing school. Next thing that I experienced was having to teach myself. So initially, coming into nursing school, I thought that, which is kind of dumb, I guess, but I thought that the instructors will like walk us through everything, teach us every little thing that we need to know. No, some of the stuff, when you're going over it, you either are expected to already know it or you have to Google it. A lot of the times, like the disease process and even some terms, I had to Google it to understand why such and such was going on. So even when you're going over the chapter in class, some of the material and context in the chapter will be independent study for you to learn on your own. The instructor is not going to teach you everything in the chapter. It's a lot of independent study work, and I had to teach myself most of the time. Next thing that I experienced will be self-doubt. I did doubt myself a lot at the beginning of the semester. Am I a good nursing student? Do I know as much as the other nursing students know? Will I be well equipped to become a nurse? Just all of these things were just going through my head, and I feel like it's a normal part of any adjustment, whether you're getting adjusted to nursing school, any other program that you get accepted to. So I just had to remember how excited I was to get accepted into the program and where I want to be. I think it's helpful if you're doubting yourself to speak to people that care about you, who can encourage you and tell you to keep on going, and just remember where you want to be and why you're there. You got accepted into the program for a reason, and that is something that I had to continually remind myself. Like, I'm supposed to be here. I got accepted for a reason, and I know 100% that I can do this. There will be some tests that you will fail, and I did fail maybe like 1 or 2 tests, and I just used it as fuel to study even harder for the next test. Of course I was down about it, but it's life. You're not gonna win everything, so it's okay to fail a test. It's okay, as long as you try harder and you just continue to grow, it'll be fine. Something else that I experienced was, and this was more so towards the beginning of the semester, when you're in class or just whatever the setting is, there will be other nursing students who will know more than you, even though you guys started at the same pace. And that's okay, because you don't know what experiences they had, what jobs they had before you. And there were people in my class who definitely knew more than I knew, and it did kind of intimidate me a little bit, and I felt like I was behind because they were probably answering more questions than I was. But I just had to remind myself that I'm here for me, and I cannot pay attention to what other people know or compare myself to other people, because I don't know how many times a day they're studying. I don't know what other jobs they have. I don't know what other experiences they had. So that's something I had to remind myself. You won't grasp every content as quickly. And this goes along with, you won't be, this kind of goes along with what I previously said. I won't learn everything at the same pace, and I won't understand everything at the same level. I never personally went to office hours because I just felt like, okay, well, if the instructor did not explain it well in class, what's going to be the difference in the office hours? I did go to a few tutoring sessions, and what helped me a lot with chapters that I was struggling in was just watching YouTube videos on that. Thing is, like I said, nursing school is very fast paced, so you don't want to spend too much time on one content than the other. But there were times where, for instance, let's say it's 5 chapters we're learning that week, I'm really struggling on 3 other chapters, and I'm not able to get to the other 2 chapters as quickly. So you want to make sure you understand, but still get to the other chapters so that you won't be behind and then the test is approaching. I did experience burnout, honestly, almost every single week, because you're just studying so much. You're studying 6 to 8 hours every single day. You feel like you don't have a social life. You're not doing the same things that you were doing before nursing school. So I did experience burnout. I felt like I was just studying so much, and it was hard for me at the beginning of the semester. I got used to it towards the end of the semester, But yeah, it was times where I would just be like, you know what, I don't even want to study anymore. I'm just so tired. It is what it is. I learned this really quickly. A lot of people, when you tell them like, oh, I'm a nursing student, you know, they'll say, oh, I don't even like blood, so I can't even imagine doing that. Who likes blood? Blood is not the nastiest part of nursing. A lot of people feel like you have to like, not necessarily like, but you have to be okay with seeing blood, and blood is gross. We're all humans. We don't like blood, but it is definitely not the nastiest part of nursing school or just nursing period. This is something that I wanted to know so bad before starting nursing school, was whether or not I could have a social life while being in nursing school. And I feel like the answer to this question is yes, if you are a fast learner. If you are able to study every single day for at least 6 hours for each of your classes, so not study one day for pharmacology and then, you know, you wait 2 days later to start studying for patho, because then that won't give you enough time to learn all of the content before your exams. If you can study each day for each class, you don't procrastinate, you just are on top of everything, then yeah, I believe that you could still keep a social life. But me personally, too difficult for me to learn quickly, and I will have to spend just a lot of time studying, and you know, life be lifing. So sometimes you're not able to study as much as you need to, and then you have to take the weekend to cover that time that you did not study. So for instance, homecoming weekend, I could not do anything because I had an exam that following week, and I had to study for it because the content was difficult. So I had to spend just the whole weekend just studying. I would say I studied about 6 to 8 hours for the 5-day week at the beginning of the semester, and then towards the end of the semester I started studying more on the weekends, because what I thought at first was like, oh, okay, if I study every single day of the week, I can have the weekends to myself. No, nursing school, you need to study every single day. So if you study Monday through Friday 6 to 8 hours, and then Friday and Saturday at least 5 hours, I feel like that will really prepare you for your exams, and you will be on top of everything. Studying 6 to 8 hours a day was a huge adjustment for me, because I never studied that much when I was taking my prereqs. I didn't have to study that much, and that's a part of the reason why I felt burnt out as well, because I just felt like I was just studying literally all day every day. You will still be learning content until the week of the exam. So like I said, if your exam is next Monday, that Monday of your class, you will still be learning content. And that's why I keep trying to stress that it's important to study for each of your class every single day, because if you take more time studying for one class than the other, you won't even realize that your next exam is coming up, and you will still be learning content up until the week of the exam. You just have to stay on top of everything. The biggest part of nursing school, and a lot of other videos stress this, is time management. And I'm not gonna lie, time management is something that I'm still learning how to manage my time, how to not procrastinate. But it's hard because you get burnt out, because you're not perfect, because you're human. You get tired. So a lot of the times, that's why you have to sacrifice hanging out with your friends, things like that, because you're tired, and sometimes you don't feel like studying, and you're just like, dang, I didn't do as well on this exam. Learn how to keep your spirits up, and I feel like this is why people stress finding a study group. But it's not as hard, it's not as easy as people make it seem. Like, oh, you're gonna find friends like this, you're gonna find a study group like this. Like, no, people are busy. This is something that I experienced within the first 3 to 4 weeks of the semester. I felt so guilty if I did not study, because I would know, like, oh my gosh, I have 10 chapters to go over before the exam. Instead of me doing this or doing that, I could be studying. Like, and this is something that I know other people experience, guilt for not studying. Sometimes you would finally, take that day to pamper yourself, and when you're resting, you're like, oh my gosh, I could be studying. For me, I experienced the most guilt whenever I would go to sleep. Like, oh my gosh, why did I spend 8 hours sleeping when I could have just slept for maybe 5 to 6 hours and then wake up early and then start sleeping again? But it's really important that you take care of your mental health, that you get enough sleep, so that you can be prepared to, take on all of these tasks that you have to do as a nursing student. Don't sacrifice your sleep and your mental health, because you won't be in the best shape to learn. This is something that I kind of suffered with at the beginning of the semester, where I would try to wake up super early and study, but I would be so tired that I won't even be able to study without falling asleep. And then my last point for my recap of my first semester is that procrastination will hurt you. I feel like the three biggest things that I've learned so far is procrastination. It don't go with nursing school. It does not go. Time management is super important, and just learning how to take care of your mental health while still doing everything that you need to do. So it can be really hard. I feel like the biggest thing is just time management and not procrastinating. Once you get that part together, which, like I said, I'm still learning, it'll be easier. It'll be a smoother transition for you. Just being completely honest, sometimes I would study more for certain classes. For instance, my hardest class was pharmacology, because the amount of drugs that we had to know for each exam. I remember one exam, it was 80 drugs that we had to know. I would focus more on pharm than I would, for instance, health assessment, but my health assessment exam would be coming up really soon, so it was difficult sometimes. So now I'm gonna get into my tips for pre-nursing students. My first tip would be to shadow a nurse. When you decide that nursing is a career that you want to go into, you want to make sure that it is something you really want to pursue, because you don't want to waste time and you don't want to waste money. So I would say shadow a nurse, whether it's a nurse practitioner or RN. And if you're not able to shadow a nurse, I would just watch YouTube videos of like a day in my life of different nurses and the whatever specialty that you want to go into. To add to that, this is another thing that I think is really important. You know what type of nurse you want to be and the specialty you want to go into. You won't find every single part of nursing interesting, and nursing school prepares you, to be a nurse all around. So you're going to learn everything, and it's okay if some material you learn you're not that interested in it, then the things that you actually want to get into. And sometimes I will feel like, oh my gosh, is this the career path for me, because I'm not interested in this particular subject. And that's okay, because like I said, nursing school has to equip you to be a nurse, so you have to learn everything, even if that specific topic or content is not what you want to do or what you want to go into. My second tip would be find programs that fit your criteria and make a top 3 list based on what you think is important for you as a student. Third tip would be speak to your advisor to know all of the requirements needed for your program. I didn't know that I could only retake a class one time before being ineligible to apply to the nursing program. It's just really important for you to know what is required of you and what you can and can't do before applying to the program that you want to get accepted into, just so that you won't waste any time doing any more or any less than what you need to do. My next tip would be just to get into the habit of reviewing the lecture the same day. When you review the lecture the same day, let's say you have lecture at 3 p.m. and then you review it again around like 5 p.m., it just helps you retain the information better than if you go to lecture and then you wait 2 days later to go over the material. Then it's like you kind of have to relearn everything. Figure out study habits that works best for you. If you start to figure out the study habits that works best for you as a nursing student or as a pre-nursing student, it'll be easier for those habits to carry on with you as a nursing student, and you won't be so confused on how to learn the material, because like I said, a lot of the material is independent study. Then the instructors will not teach you every single thing. My next tip would be to take anatomy very seriously. Anatomy is really hard, but anatomy is very vital as well. So take anatomy very, very seriously. My final tip would be everyone experience as a nursing student is different, and as a nurse period is different, and don't let anyone scare you away from your dreams. If you know that nursing is a career that you want to go into and you hear some negative things that people have to say, or you hear some negative things on social media and you kind of feel like it's scaring you away from going into the career, learn more about it, but don't let that scare you away. Everyone's experience is not the same. If you're passionate about something, work hard towards that and just keep a strong faith. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video and let me know any other videos or any questions that you have that I can answer. Thanks for watching. Bye.